Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so we get this nice color page to start the chapter. Actually, we kind of get two color pages. The first one is we actually get to see that Black Clover actually took over the Weekly Shonen Jump's cover page for this week. We get a nice picture of Asta with one of his swords slashing through the middle of the cover page. We have a picture of Patry in the right hand corner, kind of just looking down, sad, and whatnot. And then we actually have a picture of the new demon, or the guy who basically becomes the new antagonist of the arc, in the lower left hand corner looking very menacingly. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool that Black Clover took over the entire cover page for Weekly Shonen Jump this week. And then we also get to see this color page that Tabata Yuki drew. Basically, a lot of the characters from Black Clover in high school. And I don't know why, but to me, the breakout thing from this color page is the fact that Jack the Ripper is a math teacher. Anyway, we get right into the chapter, and we pick up pretty much where the last chapter left off with Mimosa and Asta showing up on the scene. Why? Even though they show up, the demon doesn't really regard them. He's kind of like, "Oh, hey, you guys are here. Whatever, I'll deal with you later." And then he pretty much focuses all his attention from the chapter on Patry. So basically, what ends up happening is he uses his word magic to bring Patry in close. Patry was actually healing Rye at the time, trying to keep him alive. Brings him in close, and then, all right. So basically, what we end up finding out for this chapter is that everything we know about the massacre of the elves is kind of bullshit. Like, we already found out last week's chapter that what we kind of knew about the fact that everyone thought that the first Magic Emperor was the one who betrayed them, or it was some human, like either the first Magic Emperor or Tetya herself who ended up betraying them. And then we ended up finding out that it was actually this demon who told the humans exactly where the elves were and put the idea in their heads to kill them and steal their mana. So we find out all that last chapter, and as if that wasn't a big enough revelation that completely changed the whole point of this entire arc, we also get the bombshell dropped on us in this chapter that basically it wasn't even Lich who used the reincarnation magic to summon all of them back. So we end up finding out that was actually the demon who used the reincarnation magic. And this is actually the reason why Patry was the only one to be reincarnated instead of everyone else, and he had to go and use the third eye reincarnation and then use this new form of reincarnation with the magic stones in order to bring everyone back, all the elves back, and have them reincarnate in new bodies. And it's because the demon, alright, so the demon had a plan. He had a plan to basically, I guess, create the Grimoire of Despair and regain his own body, and somehow the two of them are going to correlate and basically gain him some kind of new power, possibly going to let him take over the world. We don't exactly know what his plan is yet. But basically, he had a plan, and the first Magic Emperor and Lich, because the two of them were actually being buddy-buddy and actually working towards peace between humans and elves, that somehow interfered with his plan. So he basically orchestrated the massacre of all the elves just to create despair, because he, instead of choosing Lich, who I guess was his original idea of using Lich to basically create the Grimoire of Despair and create a new body for himself, he decides, hey, Patry, you're almost as loved as Lich is. So basically what it comes down to is that this demon orchestrated the massacre of all the elves, simply so he can infuriate Patry to the point where he would want to seek revenge once he's reincarnated against all the humans, which would lead down a spiral of events to the point where we're at now, where basically Patry reincarnated, he reincarnated all his friends using the magic stone, started this entire war to kill off the humans, just so the demon could get to the point where he would regain his body. And you know what? It's not exactly said, but it's kind of implied that the reason why he did all this and the reason why he chose Patry to be the one who seeks revenge and basically causes everything to set in motion is because he wanted to turn Patry's Grimoire into the Grimoire of Despair. Now, last week's chapter, I said it was possibly going to be Asta's Grimoire that he wanted to turn into the Grimoire of Despair, because Asta's Grimoire is basically the darker version of Lich's Grimoire now, and it has the fifth leaf clover, which is supposed to house the demon. But as we see in this chapter, when he drops the bombshell onto Patry about the fact that he was the one to use the reincarnation magic, and that basically he caused Patry to start a world where Lich's dream of creating a unity between humans and elves would never come to pass. Basically, this causes Patry to scream out in despair. He basically just gets completely overwhelmed by his emotions. And in a little panel during that chapter where we see Patry basically just screaming out in despair, we see what I'm guessing is his grimoire. The clover on it starts to turn black, and the demon smiles in another panel right after that. So basically, finding out the fact that the demon was actually the one that used the reincarnation magic was possibly the most important thing from this week's chapter. And now that we have the revelation about that, it has me questioning one more thing when it comes to the massacre of the elves. And that's basically, if the demon was the one that actually ended up using reincarnation magic, that means Lich was never the one that used the forbidden magic. So if that's the case, does that mean that Lich wasn't actually the one that ended up summoning the Demon King? Because as far as I'm aware, if I remember correctly, In order to summon the Demon King, Lich had to use the forbidden magic, which that forbidden magic was the reincarnation magic to basically reincarnate all his friends. So if Lich wasn't actually the one who did it, and it was actually the demon, that means the demon was the one that actually summoned the Demon King. Which begs the question also, if Lich wasn't the one who ended up using the reincarnation magic and he summoned the Demon King, then what's really going on with the current day Lich that we have that's been reincarnated in a new body? Is he just kind of waiting to see what happens? Is he kind of just like disillusioned by the fact that his friends would go this far and he's trying to figure out exactly what's going on? We don't exactly know because he hasn't said anything, he hasn't done anything. He's slightly attacked Asta and Yuno. And you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe the reason why Lich actually attacked Asta and Yuno when he met them was because he knows that Demon was the one that actually caused the massacre of the elves and used the reincarnation magic to bring them back. And because of the fact that he knows it was a demon that's behind everything, when he ended up meeting up with Asta, who he knows houses the demon inside of him, I'm guessing you could probably sense it, actually decided to get rid of it because he probably thought that Asta's demon was the one that caused everything. So that could be a possibility as to why he attacked him. Now, there's also the question of if the Lich that's running around right now actually is the real Lich. Because, alright, after Patrick gets impaled, Asta and Yuno kind of jump in to help him out, and they completely get overpowered by the demon. Then after basically the demon drops the bombshell on Patry and causes him to go like scream out in despair, Yuno and Asta stand up and they basically unlock new powers. Like their forms that they had, their winged forms that they had, they kind of just unlock new versions of that and become even more powerful and actually do stand a chance of fighting against the demon now. And during that moment where we see the two of them basically unlock this new power, kind of like upgrade their powers, we see Raya on the ground and he looks at Yuno and he says, "Oh, the Lich inside of you finally awakened." Which has a question now, we've all kind of figured that maybe Yuno up until this point was actually the reincarnation of Lich and Techia's son or their child. But now, based off of that line of dialogue, it has me wondering, oh, what if Yuno actually is the reincarnation of Lich instead? And really it's going to come down to what the official translation of this chapter is, but basically this actually could be a possibility. Because for one, this will explain the reason why the Lich that we have running around isn't exactly all there, and he's not exactly being friendly with the other elves, and he's kind of just being kind of reclusive and not really talking. And also, we never got confirmation on the fact that Yuno was the reincarnation of Lich and Techia's son or child. We just kind of like we got hints here and there about it. But it could very well be that Yuno actually is the reincarnation of Lich, simply because of the fact that they share one very big key characteristic. The fact that they are both loved by Mana more than pretty much anyone else. But yeah, like I said, it's basically going to come down to what the official translation of what Raya said in that moment actually is. But I guess pretty much it for the chapter, guys. That's it for the review. It actually was a really important chapter to the series. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens next week. I'm guessing since we actually have Yuno and Asta fighting against the demon now, we're going to see the two of them in next week's chapter fighting against him a little bit more, possibly overpower him a little bit. Then the demon's going to turn around, overpower them by the end of the chapter. Maybe we're going to see this Lich that's actually running around show up to fight against this demon. And then I'm guessing in the chapter following that, we're going to kind of cut away from that fight and focus on either Noelle and Jack the Ripper's fight against Fauna, or go back to Charmy's fight against Lil. Simply because of the fact that this is probably the most important fight of the entire arc at this point. And if we're going to go down the route that I just said of basically the Yuno and Asta fighting against him and then Lich showing up to fight against him, we're going to put that fight on the back burner since that should be the ending fight, and focus on the fights that we are, less important that we haven't resolved yet. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. That's it for the review. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories on what happened in the chapter. And also follow me on Twitter at Manga Archives. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.